Guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, "My Husband Donates Money to the Church, but Leaves Me Short." And guys, this is an article where a woman writes into an advice columnist, pretty much seeking pity and wanting the woman to side with her because she's mad that her husband donates a percentage of his salary, his income, to his church. Okay, it's really important to him. He's obviously a deeply religious guy, and he wants to support his church. Okay, that's his business. And you're going to find out here that he is deeply religious and she's not. They're complete polar opposites. And how they got together, I'll never understand, because you can have differences, but something like that, you got to be kind of on the same page to make it work. And basically, she's complaining that he's donating his money to the church, and she kind of makes it out to be like he's donating like tons and tons of money, and that she's destitute, and he doesn't trust her, shit like that. And she uses her two daughters are in college or university, she calls it, and she says they're struggling with the bills. And in my view, reading between the lines, she's really making a mountain of a molehill here, trying to basically say, hey, he should be paying for the girls in school. And we don't get his side of the story here. We just get hers. And we all know a lot of times when people are upset about something, they'll tell a story in a way where they're the saint, and whoever they're complaining about is the absolute villain here, and to get all the pity. And it's not always the case. There's always two sides to a story. And the advice columnist, as you're going to see, is definitely going to get into her a little bit about that. Okay, she's going to call bullshit on some of these things here. And it goes to show this guy here, he's doing what he wants with his money. And I say good. A lot of guys end up caving and donating money into a joint account, and she has all the control of the money. But he's doing what he wants, and she doesn't like it. So this is the kind of crap you guys can expect to deal with if you decide to get married. So pay attention to this if you are on the fence about doing that one day, okay? So it starts off, "I am a 60-year-old woman, and although I have worked for years teaching English, I have always been financially dependent on my husband. He is very involved in the evangelical church and gives him a percentage of his salary. The knowledge of this, together with a constant struggle to get by, has made me feel so bitter. I contemplated leaving when the children were younger because of his strong Christian values and my strong non-Christian values, and all the complications of this. But I didn't have the courage to plunge both myself and the children into further hardship." Do you see here how she is just making it to be just these horrible hardships? First of all, she has a job. She's a teacher, okay? Now, this obviously, I believe she's coming from the UK. I don't know how things are with teachers in the UK, but here in the States, teachers are not making a whole lot of money, but it could depend on where they live, the school district. I grew up in an area most of my life where the teachers made up very well because the school district people generally made more money and so forth. But bottom line is that she has a job, she makes money, but she still says she's relying on him. And she's making it out to be that basically because he donates money to the church, that they're just barely getting by and they're destitute and all that. It's a bunch of crap, okay? She's just mad because he's donating the money to church, which is important to him, and he's not trusting her with it. And we all know darn well a lot of women are terrible with money. And how she's together with a guy who's deeply religious and she's not makes no sense to me. She obviously knew that he was obviously deeply religious when they got together, but she probably was at a point where it was a make or break moment for her to get a man, so she just married the guy anyway, probably thinking she could change him. No, it's not going to work. Continues, "This issue has come to the fore again, and I struggle to help one of my daughters out with university fees. How can he give so much to a church when he knows his children are struggling?" Guess what? A lot of people feel or think that their kids ought to be the ones responsible for their college costs and student loan costs and all that. It's a part of being an adult and responsible. And a lot of financial advisors suggest that the parents don't pay for a kid's school, especially ones where they don't make a ton of money, so they make sure they have enough money when they retire. Because a lot of parents feel bad and they help pay the kids' college loans and all that, and they don't have enough money to retire. Or they have to wait later to retire, or even then when they retire, they've got less money, so they can't live the way they wanted to because they felt bad and wanted to pay the kids, college expenses. All right? This guy could be doing this. He could be teaching the kids a lesson. You don't know that because you don't get his side of the story here. You just get her complaining. "It just makes me mad. but he perhaps rightly feels that his salary to do as he wishes with. I am aware of my dependency is my own fault. My way of dealing with all this has been to plunge myself into a number of outside activities that have allowed me, at little expense, a lovely social world far removed from my husband's church circle, which I find so oppressive. If she wasn't happy, she could have ended it with him, okay? Now, I don't know the whole story, but I'm sure arrangements could have been made, okay? And if she wants to have more money to help the kids out, whatever, there's nothing stopping her from trying to get another part-time job or something like that, or earlier on maybe trying to study so she can get a better teaching position, something like that. Now, this is the part where the advice columnist responds and calls some BS on her situation here, or some aspects of it. Lady says here, fascinating. But it's not really about money now, is it? You're aggravated by your husband giving a percentage of his salary to the church, but we both know that he should have the right to choose, perhaps not with impunity, but certainly with the same confidence any wage earner has to spend their dosh. In other words, it's his money, so if he wants to donate to the church, he can donate to the church. It's his business. And she knew darn well what she was getting into early on with this guy. She says, in a functioning relationship, finances should be a negotiation over which both sides come to a fair conclusion. You don't seem to have been able to do this. First of all, let's swap the sexes in this situation. As a woman, I do think we have to be on the alert for double standards. So, on rereading what you've written, I ask myself, would a man in your situation continue this way? Is it justifiable to keep living with a guy you seem to have no affection or respect for simply because he pays the lion's share of the bills? I'm a feminist and a socialist. Well, that's a combination from hell. But when we want more money than we earn, it's up to us to get out there and pursue it, rather than presuming someone else will rustle up on our behalf. With equality, which I agree only exists in small pockets of the world, that's a very feminist thing to say, also comes the expectation that we'll take charge of our own destinies and earning potential. Your husband would be totally within his rights to suggest you focus less on your social life and more on your earning potential if you want to further support your children economically. Ding, ding, ding. Get off your butt and start taking action to maybe make some more money by maybe... A lot of teachers oftentimes become... They take courses on the side, they get masters and things like that, and they eventually move up to a college level. Or they become principals or vice principals or something along those lines to make more money. So that's something that she could have done when she was younger, but now she's 60, so it's obviously a little harder, but I'm sure that's not an accident. Or doing something on the side to make more money to help her, starving children with the way she makes this story out to be. Drama, drama, drama. But this is a tough time to find employment. This article's from yesterday. Let alone get paid better work. Also, infuriatingly, middle-aged women, like school leavers, are more attractive because they're often cheap. As a teacher, you're already undervalued. As a 60-year-old woman, you suffer from a double whammy. Luckily, as I said, I don't think it's a financial debate. Intentional or not, what comes across in your letter is that you really don't have much left you want to share with your husband. So, maybe it's time to make a move and split your assets fairly. So she's encouraging her to consider a situation and end the marriage, and then she can split the assets. But the odds are she'll piss the money away. She probably would pay the kids' student loans and all that, and then she'd have pretty much not a whole lot left to retire on, but her husband would probably be fine. There's also definitely scope for enjoying a happy life despite diametrically opposing views. Even political disagreement can offer a friction that leads an extra excitement to a union. Just look at ex-Tory Speaker of the House, John Bercow, and his labor-leaning wife, Sally. Taste in food, art, design, religious belief, even challenging geography can be resolved by alternating or compromise. Yet you describe your husband as though you would a stranger or a work colleague, a person removed from your personal sphere who can be tolerated but not involved in your wider life. No marriage or relationship should be a life sentence, and it's perfectly natural at this point in your life, with your daughter off at college, to be taking a long, hard look at what the next few decades might look like. In the first half of our lives, we really are quite busy. There's love to be found, babies to be made, a career to be built, children to raise. And bit by bit, incremental bit, what was once devoted duo expands to encompass a larger group. You mention your daughter and her economic challenges at university as though she enjoys a bloodline only with you. Does she not have a relationship with her father where she can request financial assistance if she needs it? There's an idea. How about the girl talk to the dad? Right? But again, this story is coming from her, from the woman writing it. So, you get her making the husband into the villain. She's saying how the daughter is practically destitute because, God forbid, he is donating some money to his church, which, by the way, pretty much anybody that's a churchgoer or whatever their religious faith is, they do donate to keep the building, not being foreclosed in the bank if it isn't paid off, to keep paying the bills for the electricity. The minister, the priest, the rabbi, whoever the hell it is, obviously gets a salary to live on. That's where the donations go to. Okay. And so it's important to people that are very religious to do their contributions to help out. Now, I'm going to cast the conversation about religion, organized religion aside, because I try my best not to discuss politics, religion, or how much money an individual has, or and we can go on forever about aspects of religion and things like that. But I'm not going to do that here. But the point is, it's important to him about this, so that's his damn business. But this lady is blowing this out of proportion. You don't get his perspective on the thing. But this lady, the advice columnist, is obviously calling BS in some of these things. And again, the daughter could go to the husband, the father, if she wanted to. She says, what I've discovered is it's never about money, even when it is. I suspect even if your husband cut his church a contribution, you'd still feel resentment that you couldn't explain away. Exactly. In other words, she ain't going to be happy no matter what. Sometimes you wonder how people got together in the first place. Sometimes you wonder where it was their paths diverged. In your case, you seem to have been traveling parallel paths for some time. Is it time to reestablish the route that you want to take and embrace responsibility for your own destiny? So, as you can see here, guys, you get her perspective on this, but the lady's calling BS. But the bottom line is this: the guy wants to do what he wants with his money, end of story. And she's writing in, complaining, about that and everything like that. But he also may simply just not want to put the money that she can have access to because she may blow it away. And he also may feel that, hey, you know what? The daughter, because at one point she said daughters, plural, and then she said daughter. So I'm not sure if it's one or two, if there was a typo, but there is a child here that's in school, and maybe he thinks that, hey, she ought to pay for herself and be responsible, okay? Or maybe she's majoring in some bullshit degree that he says, hey, I'm not going to pay for that if you're going to major in some stupid-ass degree that you're not going to have an opportunity to get a really good job out of, so I'm not paying for that. Who knows what the situation is? But another complaint about the guy doing what he wants with the money and not trusting her and things like that. Guys, this is the type of crap that you can expect if you decide one day to get married. So if you're thinking about that, really consider these things. These are very important here, okay? If you want to have somebody nagging you about what you do with your money or outright dictating to you how you're going to spend your money and so forth, then go ahead, get married and see what happens, amongst the many other issues and headaches that you can deal with down the road. Just helping you guys be aware of this. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.